Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I have something very interesting for you guys, and I'm going to be uploading this every day until this is completely done for the next couple of days. So the game you're about to see here is the Luxury Championship Series VIP Qualifier. I don't really know what else to call it, but basically it's a 16-man single elimination tournament. And the winner gets 2-round bye in the LCS tournament, the LCS number 3, which will be taking place on the 24th, I believe, or maybe it's the 23rd, the 23rd of May. So I believe this video will be going up on the 24th of May, and we did this tournament a couple days before the tournament just to see if we can get a 2-round bye basically for the actual tournament itself. So yeah, that's really just about it. So the deck that I'm going to be playing for this tournament is very interesting. Also, there's no spoilers in this because obviously by the time that this tournament comes up, or by the time this video comes out, the entire tournament is over, so there's no reason for me to show basically that. So if you can tell right here, I am playing an Eldlich list, but do not be fooled. There's a lot of things going on with this Eldlich list. So my opponent up at the top, his name is Pauly, and by the way, all these people that I play against were pretty chill people, so shout outs to them. They're all pretty nice. He is playing Adamancipator, so at this point I'm basically free to show his hand. So he goes ahead with a normal summon of Seeker and uses the effect. So I do have an Abira in my hand that I can use here that I think is pretty important. I'm just hoping he doesn't hit a Guardian, pretty much. So I believe all of the little Adamancipators have the effect that you can summon them by... let me remember, right? So you can excavate the top 5 and then summon a non-tuner rock, I believe. And I believe that's all the effects of the little dudes, the little these little guys right here, like, you know, Seeker and all the other ones. So that's basically what he's gonna do. So Seeker's gonna come down. He's going to go ahead and use Seeker and the Quick Draw Synchron. They're both tuners, which is fine, and he's going to make a Halki Fibrax, which requires 1 tuner, so you can use a second tuner as well. And then he's going to get O-Line out of the deck and summon Link Cross. Link Cross is going to give him 1 token, which is really odd. I don't know why people are really opting to go for 1. And I hit him with a Nibiru here, and this was obviously a misplay on my part. I should have waited for him to get the Metal Marcher to the field, and then the Metal Marcher brings back the O-Line, and then he wouldn't have a token, and that way he can extend even more. But either case, he's going to get the token. I put it in attack mode, and it's 1500 attack and 1000 defense, and he gets the other token as well. And I believe here they're differently named tokens, so he's going to link both of them off into a Nightmare Cerberus, pitching the Guardian, destroying my Nibiru, and at this point, he does have a Seeker for follow-up on the next turn, but there's really not much that he can do. So I draw for turn, drawing into a Scarlet Sanguine, and I go ahead and set 5 and pass my turn, so that's pretty interesting, I guess. What's really nice, because I do have this Scarlet Sanguine, which can get me access to Conquistador and Hakera, and I also have 2 copies of Judgment, so this hand's pretty solid, honestly. So in the standby phase, I use the Scarlet Sanguine, and I special summon Eldlich, the Golden Lord, from the deck, making my Conquistador as well as my Hakeros live, so I'm basically free to go. He starts off with a normal summon of Seeker, which I hit with this Conquistador here before he activates the effect. And then he activates Adamancipator Signs, targeting a rock in his grave, and I'm just going to hit that with a Judgment. I could probably have just waited to see what he summoned and then just hit it with, or maybe just like Hakero and then banish it, but I don't think it really matters in either case, because like in either case I'm gonna win this game anyways, right? Because Scarlet Sanguine can't be activated because it was already activated this turn. So during my draw phase I activate it, and I set the Conquistador back to the field, so I have a follow-up for the next turn. Plus, I already have the Judgment as well. So I link those 2 off into a Akashic Magician, and I bounce the Cerberus back to the extra deck. And then I use the Elfland to search for a Golden Land Forever. Pretty much at this point, I'm just sealing the deal. Eldlich's effect sends an Eldland, specials him, and then I get to send a Golden Land Speller Trap. Then I attack for 35 and 17. And then I'm going to set this Golden Land Forever in main phase 2. And then in end phase, I can use Hakero to get a Scarlet Sanguine to the field. So I'm pretty much set at this point. He draws Gigantes for turn, which does nothing pretty much. So, yep. And going into game number 2. So for game number 2, he opts to go first, obviously. And He starts off with a Analyzer, which has the same effect like I've been saying before. So a non-tuner rocks, so he gets us Doki Doki, puts the other cards on the top of his deck. And then he uses Doki Doki pitching the Guardian, and I believe he summons another Guardian here as well. And then he can link those off into a Halqifibrax, just basically protecting his Halqifibrax, which is pretty good. Grabs the O-line, makes a link cross, and then he gets two tokens this time. He makes Marcher. Marcher brings back, I believe, Analyzer. Yep. And then he can get a level 3 token from the O-Lion. And then he links the level 1, or synchros the Marcher with the level 1 token into a Herald. And then he has the level 3 token that he can synchro with there. And he makes, actually he links off into Cerberus, my bad. And then Block Dragon comes down here, banishing 3. And then he can link that off with his Link Cross into a Dagda. Dagda can get him, or his Block Dragon gets him Gigantes, Researcher, as well as Seeker. And then the Dagda triggers, I believe, or not here, but it triggers in a second with the Researcher activates. He chains Dagda, which gets him a Scythe. Researcher resolves, banishing 5. And then he gets a Doki Doki, just as a free extender. And then he goes ahead and he links off the Doki Doki Dagda and the Cerberus into an Appaloosa with 3 negates on it. Cerberus gets banished for Gigantes, and he can overlay that with the Guardian into a Tornado Dragon. And it's important to note that he has the Herald this whole time, so even if I had a Nibiru, even him getting rid of the Guardian doesn't matter here. He special Seeker off of its own effect, banishes 5, and then he can go ahead and grab the Dododo Dwarf Go Glove, which I'm actually not a super big fan of in this deck, but a lot of people seem to like for some reason. He links that off with the, or I believe he synchros here actually, the Researcher and the Go Glove, and he makes the Raptite. He uses Raptite's effects, which can get him a Researcher, and then he can, this is Researcher. And then he can synchro the Seeker and the Raptite off into a Savage, and then the Savage can grab him a Dagda, and then he's going to use Block Dragon, and then he's going to use the Tornado Dragon to kill the Dagda. I'm not sure why he did that, but you know, I think he might have needed like a extra Earth Engrave for Block Dragon, because then he's going to link out the Block Dragon with the Researcher into an IP. I think that's why he did that. Because then he can link the Gigantes, or banish the Gigantes, the Dododo Dwarf Go Glove, and the Researcher for his Block Dragon again. And then his IP just is live at this point. He can make a Unicorn. So I think that's why he did that. He passes it over to me. And so this hand is actually really good at first glance, right? Because if you think about it, I activate this Reasoning. He's probably going to negate it with Herald or Savage if I do that, right? And then at that point, I can just go into the battle phase. He's gonna negate the Evenly with something, and then I'm gonna hit him with the second Evenly, and then he's gonna banish his entire field, right? So this hand's pretty solid because I can bait out a negate, and then hit him with the Evenly. So I think that's really solid. However, in the standby phase, he is going to be activating this Point of the Red Lotus, revealing the Ash in his hand, and at that point, there's literally nothing I can do. Obviously, looking at his hand now, he has the Ash, so he could Ash the Reasoning, and then I'd still lose, even if he didn't have the Appointer in this case. So, realistically, it doesn't matter. He reveals the Ash. I realize here, like, okay, at this point, it doesn't matter what he takes out of my hand. If he takes the Evenly out of my hand, or if he takes the Reasoning, it doesn't matter, because then he can just follow up with something, and I lose. So I just a mid defeat. We can go into game number 2. So, I decided to go first this time, and I forget to side out evenly, so that is definitely my mistake, but you kind of live with what you got. So, I activate Eldland, he hits it with an Ash, that's okay. I use Eldlich of Black Awakening to get a Golden Lord out of the deck, I set Imperial Order and Hakero, and I pass my turn. He draws for turn, drawing a second Signs. His hand is essentially a brick, right, because the most he can really do is he can Halqifibrax, I believe, right? Because he can discard this Block Dragon, banish the Block Dragon for Gigantes, and then he can go into his Halqifibrax combos. But, like, I guess that's just kind of rough. I mean, he does have 2 extenders in the form of Signs, so he could make a play, but he just decides to pass. which I guess is kind of a good idea, like a good thought. I don't know. His hand's not exactly super great, but I definitely would have done that, like worst case scenario. So I start off with an Eldland to go ahead and search for a Golden Land Forever. And then I can go ahead and normal summon the Swap Frog, get a Swap Frog to the grave. I return Swap Frog to the hand, and I hit him for 25. And then I use the Hakero to go ahead and banish the Ash out of his grave, just for free. I definitely could have like stopped this, obviously, with like the Block Dragon, but I don't think it matters. Anyways, Hakero's going to hit him for 18. And then I'm going to link those off into an IP Masquerena. And then I use the Eldlich's effect to send the Cursed Eldland to the grave. And then I special itself in defense, and it gains the bonus, obviously. Eldland sends Hakero to the graveyard, just so I have a follow-up for the next turn. And then I can banish the Elixir Black Awakening to get a Conquistador. And I have a Golden Land Forever as well as a negate, so I have a negate and a pop. And in the end phase, I use the Hakero to go ahead and get a Scarlet Sanguine. So at this point, I'm pretty set because I can turn these into a Unicorn on my opponent's turn to stop something, as well as I have a Conquistador and a negate. So, I mean, I do have a couple options. This IP isn't really doing a whole lot there, but I mean, it's still like an option. And he just decides to scoop here, which is really interesting. I'm not sure why. Like, he definitely should have tried something, right? Like, you can definitely try the Quick Draw Synchron, discarding Block Dragon, Special Gigantes, making Fiber, and then you can just keep going from there, hopefully. Obviously, I do have a negate and a pop here, but I mean, turn 1, I think he should have definitely tried something, because obviously he would have just been steamrolled the following turn, because I could have got access, like I did, to both of these cards, because he did know that I had the Elixir Black Awakening, so he knew that I could get to a negate or a pop, which would stop his turn completely. So really awkward, I guess, on his part, but that's gonna do it for today's video. 2-1ing Emancipator for round number 1, and I'll see you guys for round number 2.